Moments of inspiration mixed with time to network, IBJ Media Events has you covered. From industry deep dives to awards celebrating Indiana's top leaders, see what's coming up and reserve your seat at ibj.com/RSVP.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Monday, May 4th, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. The Chief Commercial Officer for Texas-based Potentia says construction is underway on the first phase of the planned $65 billion Heartland Industrial Park in Sullivan County. Ilich Fahimi said the more than 1,000-acre site was ideal for the project.
Great connectivity to power, and we scoured all across the nation, and we aligned with the community and heard the county's needs, the state's needs, and just aligned with our core goals.
Developers expect the first building to be completed by the end of the year, with the second building coming online in early to mid-2027. Elkhart-based manufacturers Patrick Industries and LCI Industries have terminated discussions regarding a potential merger of equals. Patrick said the two sides were able to reach a consensus on the leadership of a combined company and continued execution of Patrick's strategic plan, but were unable to reach agreement on other key terms. Coca-Cola Consolidated is investing $35 million to grow operations at its Indianapolis manufacturing facility. The investment will support the addition of a new production line for bottling beverages in glass bottles and the creation of 15 to 20 full-time jobs. Work on the new line will begin in late 2026. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indiana, start your engines. Join us from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for our Emmy Award-winning Business at the Brickyard, presented by LiUNA. All month long, we'll bring you exclusive interviews, features, and a behind-the-scenes look at how the business of motorsports and racing drive the Indiana economy. Business at the Brickyard. It's front row access you won't want to miss.
The Indiana Department of Natural Resources and the Shirley Hines Land Trust cut the ribbon Friday on the expansion of Leidick Bog Nature Preserve in South Bend. IIB's Aubriana Herron has more.
The project focused on improvements at one of the state's last remaining sphagnum bog habitats, where unique plant species thrive. The 93-acre expansion announced in 2024 increases the size of the preserve to 269 acres. Mixed upland forests and oak and hickory savannas inhabit the woodlands, while the peat moss bog habitat features tamarack, large cranberry, and round-leaved sundew and pitcher plants, according to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. Friday's event celebrated the completion of a host of improvements tied to the expansion. Additions include a mile of trail expansion, a park lot, bike racks, 260 feet of new boardwalk, 8 picnic tables, and signage. The Department of Natural Resources purchased a conservation easement on the additional 93 acres at the cost of $250,000. The DNR's Next Level Conservation Trust provided the funding, with additional support from the St. Joseph County Council and the St. Joseph County Commissioners. The St. Joseph Community Foundation provided funds for the trail system expansion. The reserve and its public trail system are managed by the Shirley Hines Land Trust. Aubriana Herron, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indianapolis-based agricultural giant Corteva has announced the advanced seed and genetics company that will be formed after it separates into two independent companies will be called Vylor Inc. In October, Corteva's board of directors unanimously approved a plan to separate the company's current crop protection business into New Corteva and the other operations comprising its current seed business into what will now be called Vylor. The separation is expected to be in place by the fourth quarter of this year. Corteva CEO Chuck Magro will become CEO of Vylor after the separation. Indianapolis Motor Speedway President Doug Bowles says an announcement regarding a grandstand sellout for the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500 could come in a matter of days, and there's the potential of a general admission sellout based on surging ticket demand.
Last year we announced the sellout the Tuesday leading into the 500. I definitely think we get it ahead of that, so it should be here sometime in the next couple weeks. But we actually had to add seats that we haven't had to add before to really deal with the demand for the Indianapolis 500, so I definitely think our grandstands will be sold out once again, and who knows about GA. Just depends on when that grandstand sale date happens.
It's estimated the Indianapolis Motor Speedway specifically generates more than $1 billion annually in economic activity, with the month of May alone accounting for more than half of that total. Taylor University President Michael Lindsay is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.
From broadcast to podcast, Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick is now available anytime on YouTube or in your podcast feed. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcast or at ibjpodcast.com.
Do you want to know what really drives change in Indiana? You won't find it in sound bites, you'll find it in stories. Stories from CEOs, lawyers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and community advocates. That's the IBJ Media Podcast Network. Insightful, local, impactful. Find all of our shows by searching IBJ Media in your podcast app or visit ibjpodcast.com.